Let's see. Setting up. Okay, I think that I am live. I'm not sure, but I'm going to see if I can share this. I'm going to be streaming from multiple devices, so I am trying to figure out how to do that. I don't know how to do that, so let's see. Just give me 1 second. I just want to share this. I don't know how to share it. Okay, well, we're just going to leave it like that right now. I'm streaming from way too many devices, so just give me a second. Let me see if I can do it from here. Oh, I can. How do I do that? I'm streaming from way too many. Hang on 1 second. Let me share this somewhere. How do you do that? How are you? I'm excited. If I can get all this streaming going, we're going to be good. Share. There we go. Okay. Post. All right. Now let me just jump on Instagram and turn this on. Okay. Hey guys. Okay, I think I did it. I think I am currently streaming from way too many different devices. All right. Hey, welcome to Mastering Your First Year of Motherhood. We're going to successfully prepare you for motherhood. I am so excited to be here today. If you leave comments, please note that I am seeing like 5 different screens right now, so it might take me some time to view the comments. But I'm so excited to be here for you guys. So I just wanted to give a quick recap of why we're here, who this is for. So this is for all of you moms who are preparing for motherhood. If this is your first time becoming a mom, this is absolutely for you. If you are in your first year of being a mom, you can absolutely listen. You will probably figure out like, oh my God, I can't believe that people didn't tell me about this, right? Like, how come no one told me? Duh, this is what I'm going through. I'm not alone. It's completely normal. So this is for you if you're about to enter your first year or you're already in your first year of motherhood. So I'm Danielle Cotis, and I'm a maternal mental health coach, maternal wellness coach. Hey, everybody on Instagram. So I am here to present you with a whole bunch of information that I wish I knew when I was pregnant for the first time, because motherhood threw me for a whim. I was absolutely miserable. I was shell-shocked. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was happening to me. And I was actually really resentful towards all the moms that did not prepare me, that told me that motherhood was going to be this, magical, natural experience. And it, for me, ended up not being that way. So I want to share with you what nobody told me so that you are fully prepared. And not only do I want to share with you what you need to know, but also the tools and resources of how to get through what you're going to experience and how to create a postpartum plan. I know a lot of you are going to be really focused on your birth and your labor and delivery, and that's great. But that is a very small fraction of motherhood. It is actually the quickest part of motherhood and quote unquote the easiest part of it. Your postpartum journey is technically the rest of your life, and anywhere between 3 and 6 years after giving birth. And then if you have multiple children, it actually keeps resurfacing itself over and over again. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I ended up suffering with postpartum depression, anxiety, and OCD. And I know that sounds crazy and you're all gonna be like, oh my God, she's a crazy person. But it actually happens way more often than is noted in the statistics. I have seen countless women suffer in silence, not understanding what's happening to them. And I want to prevent that for you. So I want you to be fully prepared for what you're about to experience so you do not feel alone or that something is wrong with you, or that you have gone completely balls to the walls crazy. So I want to share all of that with you today. So what you're going to learn is what no one tells you, right? Absolutely what no one tells you, or maybe what you kind of heard about, the importance of having a postpartum plan. And you're also going to learn what types of professional support you absolutely have to have in your postpartum journey, right? And especially in that first 40 days, it's really important. The first 40 days are very important, and so are the first 4 months, right? But I suggest you have them for all 12 months. All right. And then you're also going to learn tools and resources to help you get through all this crazy nonsense of motherhood. Okay. So that you can have this wonderful peaceful postpartum experience, or the best postpartum experience that you possibly could have, right? We prepare for a test because we want to make sure that we are calm, we know the information, we are knowledgeable, and we have fully prepared beforehand. So that's what I want for you for motherhood. Do not wing motherhood. Do not wing it, okay? I went into it winging it, thinking that everything was going to be okay, that it was just going to come naturally. Unfortunately, or fortunately, motherhood is a learned skill. It is not something that comes natural to everybody. Parts of it are natural, but the actual art of mothering and breastfeeding and going through all these different things is a learned skill. So just keep that in the forefront of your mind through everything that you're going to experience as a mom. It is a learned skill. Okay. You did not fail. It is a learned skill. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to talk to you about is labor and delivery. All right. Labor and delivery does not always go as planned. Okay. You can have this wonderful birth plan. You can have this amazing, vision of what birth is going to be like. And it very well may be that you are able to manifest your perfect labor and delivery experience. But from what I've experienced with my clients is that labor and delivery does not always go as planned. Okay. And that's really where the struggle first starts, is that if you want to give have a natural labor and then you end up having a C-section, people feel like they failed already, that they didn't get to experience something. Okay. Or there could be a huge change in the baby's heart rate or your heart rate, or lots of bleeding or things like that. So it could be somewhat traumatic. Or you could say, I want all natural labor and I don't want an epidural or any kind of drugs. And then you end up having to get drugs and epidural, and it could feel like you failed. So I want your expectations of labor and delivery to lower a little bit and to kind of go with the flow. If you have somebody who is helping you with your birth plan, if you do not have a birth plan, now is the time to figure out what the heck a birth plan is, okay? And I want you to have multiple birth plans, right? I want you to be able to have this fluidity with giving birth, right? So that, let's say if your baby is breached, what are you going to do if the baby is breached? Are you going to just automatically accept a C-section? Are you going to try to do things to, move the baby? What are you going to do? When you have a fluid birth plan, it means that in your mind, if this happens, then you're going to move to this section. If this happens, you're going to move to this section. And if everything goes as your regular birth plan, awesome, but chances are it's not going to be that way. And I also want you to not feel guilty if your birth does not go according to plan. All right. It is not your fault. Things happen, complications happen all the time. And that's not to scare you, but it's not your fault. All right. It's not your fault if you end up getting a C-section. It has nothing to do with your ability to be a mom. It's just something that happens. With that being said, when you get into the hospital, it's really important that if you are going to breastfeed, that you educate yourself beforehand. Breastfeeding is a learned skill that takes weeks to develop. All right. It does not just happen like that. If you are lucky and your baby latches right away, and you produce a ton of milk, and your baby is eating and there's no tongue tie and there's no craziness, like, good for you. I would say 99% of moms who go to breastfeed have some sort of struggle. So please, while you're in the hospital, it's very important that you talk a lot to the lactation consultant, that you get all the numbers to the lactation consultant, find out if they can come to your house, ask 1,000 questions, have them come back 1,000,000 times, have the nurse come back 1,000,000 times, and make sure that the baby is feeding properly. When you are in this recovery room, you may find that you are a little unhappy about your situation. Okay, it's really important that you speak up. Okay, if something happens where you don't feel right or your birth didn't go as planned, you really want to make sure that you're talking to either a mental health specialist, or you're talking to the nurse, and you're advocating for yourself and making sure that you are getting what you need. All right, so when it comes to breastfeeding, there's a whole lot of things that if you didn't take any classes or read the books, you're not going to know, and even if you did, you probably won't know either. When you go to breastfeed, okay, the type of nipples that you have is really important that you know what you have, because it will possibly affect your breastfeeding experience. So if you don't know what those are, look them up. You could have like regular nipples, which is like bottle cap nipples, which the nipple is sticking out, right? You could have flat nipples. You can also have inverted nipples. So if you have one of those three types, it could potentially cause some breastfeeding issues. So you want to make sure that you know what are the tools that you're going to need. So such things as a nipple shield, or I forget what it's called, but it pulls it out. So it's like a suction cup that pulls it out, right? And if you are going to need extra lactation consultant help, right? Please understand that this is not your fault. Like, your body was born this way. So if for some reason your baby's not latching because of the type of nipples that you have, it is not your fault. It's something that's totally fixable. They sell thousands of things now to help you to be able to breastfeed, but you're going to need some serious extra support if you have flat or inverted nipples. All right. Also, make sure that you're bringing your pump to the hospital to learn how to use a breast pump. I don't know if you know, but there's different size tones for different size nipples. So you have to make sure that you have the right one. If you don't have the right one, you might not be able to pump enough milk, so on and so forth, or there won't be a good suction. So making sure that you're bringing all of that to the hospital, and you are looking up online of how much milk is supposed to come out, what is the correct amount, so that you are fully prepared for what's about to happen. If you are struggling breastfeeding, do not sit at home and not get any help. Breastfeeding is a learned skill. It does not come naturally. Thousands of years ago, it came naturally because you saw people breastfeed, you were around people who breastfed, you were in tribes and stuff like that. But right now, you're sitting at home with no help whatsoever. If your mother did not breastfeed, your mother-in-law didn't breastfeed, your sister, your whatever didn't breastfeed. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Molly. Sorry. Molly. If he didn't breastfeed, they're not going to know, right? They're not going to know. So you need people who understand what's happening. Sorry. My dog's out of control. Okay, so they're not going to know. So I do not want you to sit at home and to be sitting in silence and struggling, and your baby not getting any food, you crying, the baby being attached to you 24/7, and you bleeding at the nipples. All right, you really can pay for a lactation consultant to come to your house. I think it's like $150. Or less, depending on it, could be covered by your insurance, things like that. But you need people there to help you. There are also breastfeeding support groups at the hospital. Please find a breastfeeding support group. Do not look for one. Your hospital will have one, and go to it. Go to it. There'll be other moms that are struggling with breastfeeding. They'll be asking questions. You'll learn a ton. You'll get a ton of advice. You'll get emotional and physical support that they will actually teach you what to do. Do not waste your time at home trying to figure this out all by yourself. Okay. If for some reason you are not producing enough milk, you do not have, your kid has a tongue tie, or your baby's not getting enough food, this is not your fault. It is not your fault. All right. Society did not prepare you for success. You did not fail. You are not a failure as a mom. All of my moms who have breastfeeding experiences that were really bad feel like they're a bad mom and that they failed at the most natural thing possible. You are not a failure. You did not fail. People did not tell you what I'm telling you right now. They did not show you what you need to do. There's not somebody in your house to help you. So first things first is you did not fail. You can figure out how to breastfeed. You can figure out how to pump and give formula, and you can do all these things at the same time. You are not a failure. You can absolutely continue to breastfeed. So please note that, like, immediately, that this breastfeeding experience can be difficult, but it's not your fault and you are not a failure. So with your breastfeeding experience, I also want to make sure that you are using YouTube as a resource. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's tons of YouTube videos on breastfeeding. So if you are having some struggles and maybe the lactation consultant can't get to you right away, make sure that you are watching some YouTube videos. They're really great. I didn't find out to them until I became a coach. So please check those out. They're really, really amazing how much information you can get about breastfeeding. Biggest tip that I can give you is if you are planning to exclusively breastfeed for a year, that's wonderful. Make sure you buy a can of formula and bottles, okay? Just in the event that you have to supplement. And there is a high chance that you will have to supplement. There's a high chance that you're going to have to pump and you may not produce enough milk. So please lower your expectations about exclusively breastfeeding for a year. You can absolutely do that, but you may run into some issues. So make sure that you're prepared with your pump, with your bottles, and with your formula in the event that something happens. Okay. Now, I really want to talk about the first 40 days postpartum. It's really important that you understand that in the Ayurvedic culture, right, in Ayurvedic medicine, the first 40 days postpartum actually end up determining your health the next 40 years of your life, right, in women's health. So here in the United States, it really sucks. Any kind of maternal mental health, maternal health care, it sucks. It's terrible. It's absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard compared to everybody overseas. So what you need to do is you need to be fully prepared for those 40 days. Couple things. You should not be left alone at all for those 40 days. Okay. Unless for some reason you feel like you need a break, but you should not be left alone. Your nutrition is extremely important. There's something called warming foods that you should be eating. Okay. Your entire insides just got mushed around. Okay. And it needs to come back together and it needs to heal. And there are specific nutrients that you need to be eating in those first 40 days in order for you to heal properly. Okay, some ways that you can do this is you can hire a postpartum doula. Okay, I highly suggest that you hire a postpartum doula right now. I'm not talking about birth doula. If you want a birth doula, that's great. A postpartum doula you need to get. The postpartum doula will help integrate you into motherhood, will help integrate the entire family into motherhood, will be helpful. You can have them stay overnight. You can have them come during the day, help clean, help cook, whatever you need. They can help you breastfeed. They can spot problems with breastfeeding. They can spot postpartum depression and anxiety. They can spot so many different things. They are so, so helpful. If you want to take an extra mile, you will hire a postpartum Ayurvedic doula. The reason being is the Ayurvedic tradition has so many different techniques that are amazing for moms healing. Okay, the first 40 days should be about you and baby. You should not be gallivanting around, cleaning, cooking, doing all these things. You should not be doing any of that. So if your maternity brain is thinking that, during maternity leave, it's going to be all rainbows and butterflies and you're going to clean the house and you're going to do this and blah, blah. It is not going to be like that. And I really hope that it is not that you are cleaning and entertaining and bringing people over. It should not be like that. You need somebody there who can do, feed you, cook for you, ensure that you're getting postpartum massages, that you're getting internal massages, that you're seeing the right people, that you're being supported in the best way possible. Do not get a doula. Do not get a doula after you watch this. The doulas will save your life. Okay. So ensure yourself that you get a doula. Hey guys on Instagram. So with that being said, that in that first 40 days, that is your recovery period, and it takes 40 days for your body to recover. So another thing that you are going to want to get is a pelvic floor therapist. Incontinence after you give birth. So like when people make jokes that after you become a mom, you sneeze and you pee, or you laugh and you pee. Okay. That is not normal. You should not have that. Your insides should be tight again. You should have no incontinence. You should be continent, right? You should not sneeze and pee. You should not cough and pee. So making sure that you are getting a pelvic floor therapist. Even before, like if you're still pregnant right now, making sure that you find a pelvic floor therapist to help you postpartum. Okay, a lot of you may get what's called diastasis recti, where your abdomen will separate, like your actual abs will separate completely. And you will need a physical therapist, a pelvic floor therapist, to help you to bring that back together, because it can cause all kinds of problems. So you want to make sure that in that first 40 days, you have a lot of support. People are helping you. You have a doula, a mother's helper, like cheap babysitters, right? They come over and they cook, they clean, they do little things, they do your laundry. You should not be doing any of that. You should not be doing any of that. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to sleep, take care of your child, and that's it. That's it. Okay. So I don't know where you're going to get the support from, and we'll talk about it at the end, but you really need to take care of yourself in those first 40 days. Another suggestion I have for you is a functional medicine doctor or a nutritionist or dietitian. Your OBGYN and your general practitioner, they're garbage. Okay. They will not help you. I'm sorry to say this. They are garbage. Your hormones will be out of balance and you will definitely be nutrient deficient. So it's really important that immediately postpartum, you get some sort of huge blood work panel done to make sure to see where your hormones are, to see where your nutritional deficiencies are, so that you get on the right supplements immediately and that you are eating the right foods to ensure that you are actually getting the nutrients that you need. A lot of women, if they don't do this, they can end up with autoimmune disorders. It's actually fairly common because they are so nutrient depleted for so long. They end up with autoimmune disorders. Also, if your hormones are out of whack and your nutrient levels are out of whack, you will experience symptoms of anxiety and depression. It is automatic. You will feel extreme fatigue. You will have digestive issues, all kinds of problems. So you need to make sure that you have either a functional medicine doctor, naturopath, depending on where you are in the world, or a dietitian and nutritionist on staff as your go-to person immediately after birth to ensure that you're receiving the right amount of nutrients. P.S. When you breastfeed, you are literally giving all of your nutrients to your child. They're just sucking the life out of you. So you need to make sure that not only are you getting the nutrients, right, to replenish your milk supply. A lot of moms have low milk supply because they don't have the right hormone levels. They don't have the right nutrient levels. So you want to make sure that you are filling up so that you can not only have the energy and the milk supply to feed your baby and give your baby the nutrients that they need. Okay, how's everybody doing? I know I'm talking a whole lot of fast going on here, but I just want to make sure that you guys are getting all of this in here. Okay, so we talked about breastfeeding, labor, delivery, first 40 days. All right, we're going to talk about sleep deprivation. You will be sleep deprived, okay, like crazy. It will feel like you haven't slept in 70 days, okay? Baby will not sleep. All right. As soon as baby comes out, it's going to be all crazy. You're going to want to go to sleep. Baby's going to be wide awake. You're going to fall asleep. Then baby's going to start crying. It's going to be a little crazy. Please make sure that you and your husband, your spouse, your whoever is the mom or dad, you talk about this beforehand. You need a sleep shift schedule. Okay. I understand if you're breastfeeding, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But if you are breastfeeding in the middle of the night and you have to wake up multiple times, you also don't have to do the diaper changes. You don't have to sit and console baby. Your hubby or your wife can do that. All right. You need to talk about expectations about sleep. What are you going to do? Who's going to come over and help you? Is somebody going to come and help you sleep during the day so you can take a nap? What's going to end up happening is probably what happened to me and all of my clients is we have this baby and we stay up, right, to take care of it. Our husbands or wives go to work and we are like, oh, I feel so bad they have to go to work. So I'm going to stay up all night and take care of baby. Then the next day comes and we don't sleep the entire day because we have stuff to do around the house. We're cooking, we're cleaning, so on and so forth. Husband, wife, whatever comes home. And then we do the same thing again. We don't sleep all night, then we don't sleep all day. And then the cycle continues. And in about 72 hours, you will have a freaking meltdown, a nervous breakdown because you haven't slept, okay? Sleep deprivation is a torture mechanism. So you can get symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of depression, you can get hallucinations, all those kinds of things. So you need to ensure that you are getting some sort of sleep somehow. I'm not going to tell you to sleep when the baby sleeps because that's like near impossible. That's BS. I will, however, tell you that there are things called yoga nidra, which is 20 minutes of a meditation, like a little nap, which is equivalent to 2 to 3 hours of sleep. It will save your life. Sleep shift schedule with your spouse. Okay. It's going to change as the baby gets older, right? But you want to make sure that your spouse or whoever the baby's daddy is or mom is going to get up. that they should get up. It should not be you getting up every single second of every night, of every cry, of every feeding. That is not okay. That is not okay. In no world should you be raising this child all by yourself. Okay, it is an infant. You need to sleep. Your job is the most important job. It is more important than whatever the other person is doing to make as much money as they are. Your job is more important. You need to keep yourself and this baby alive. So making sure that you explain to your spouse that they need to get up, okay? Now, if you're a single mom, there are other ways that you can help with this. You can do, sitters. You can do, I think it's baby nurses, doulas, the mother's helpers, families, friends, things like that. You're going to need somebody to come over and help you sleep at least every other day, at least every other day. So if that just means they need to come in the middle of the day so you can take a nap, that's what they need to do. But you need to make sure that you're getting some sort of adequate sleep. Okay, moving on. Scary thoughts. All right. 100% of moms get scary thoughts. 100%. That means you listening right now, whoever you are going to get some form of scary thoughts. All right, what are scary thoughts? Thoughts of harming yourself, harming your baby, weird, intrusive kind of scary thoughts. I'll give you some examples. A very common one is putting the baby in the oven, dropping the baby down the stairs, a cell phone cord wrapped around their neck. I'm trying to think what else. Knives, stabbing the baby, stabbing yourself, running away, disappearing, all these kinds of things. Okay. Scary thoughts. You're going to look at me right now and be like, nah, I'm not going to get that. You are. Okay. Every mom gets it to varying degrees. Some of them get them really bad all the time, constant. That's considered OCD. And some of you will just get it on a small scale. Some will get in the middle. You will get them. It's inevitable. All right. Now, why do you get these scary thoughts? This is going to be huge for you guys listening. All moms get scary thoughts because we get a physiological upgrade. All right. When we get this upgrade, what happens is our brain patterns change. Okay. Our whole physiological function changes. We actually become superhuman. We are the only people in the world to view everything as we, as a collective. Okay. Everybody else, all males and maidens, they view everything as me, myself, and I. We are the only people on the planet that view as a collective. Okay. Not only do we do that, but we actually get more empathetic. Okay. Part of our brain turns on and makes us more empathetic, right? For babies to love and squeeze and enjoy. Not only do we get that, but we actually get this crazy whacked out superpower, which makes us on high alert all the damn time, which is terrible. Okay. So the reason we get this is to ensure our safety and our baby's safety, right? Survival of the fittest. So this is a primal instinct, right? This is our innate ability as a mom. This is what happens to us. And so I will give you an example. If you experience a thought and you're standing at the top of the stairs and a thought happens and you think about throwing the baby down the stairs, or what would happen if you guys fell down the stairs or something like that, what actually your brain is really telling you is that the stairs are dangerous, that you need to hold the baby a little bit tighter, you need to walk a little bit slower, and you need to hold on to the railing. If you were in the car and you get some crazy thought where what happens if we die and we, crash ourselves into a tree or something like that, the car flies off the thing. What your brain is actually telling you is that cars are dangerous, right? We need to pay more attention. Okay, we got to make sure baby is buckled in, that I'm buckled in. Maybe I'm not going to be driving in the fast lane going 75 miles an hour in New Jersey anymore. I'm going to drive in the slow lane now, in the left lane, and go 50 miles an hour to ensure that I'm safe and my baby is safe. Okay, it in no way, shape, or form means that you actually want to harm yourself or harm your baby. Okay, you are not a psychopath. You have not just developed crazy thoughts. You did not turn into a serial killer. Like, you're not going to be one of those moms on TV. This happens to everyone. Okay. It's just to varying degrees. So the question is, what do you do about these thoughts? Okay. Number one, I just told you. Okay. I would say billions of moms out there don't know what I just told you. So first thing is you rationalize. Okay. Everybody gets these thoughts. Yeah, they suck. Why do I have them? Sometimes they're super vivid, things like that. You will go to my Instagram, okay, and my YouTube. I have tapping videos. Okay. Tapping is the best way to decrease the level of thoughts you have, decrease the anxiety around the thoughts. There's also a technique that's called NLP that I use. It's called the push away technique. You will find that video and you will use that. 2 huge techniques that will help you with your scary thoughts. Okay. So that you won't have them become so overwhelmed. All right. What happens with these scary thoughts is We get them, right? We feel anxious, we get scary thoughts, we feel more anxious, we feel guilt, shame, and then depression hits. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're managing these thoughts. Also, if you are getting scary thoughts and you are uncomfortable, you really need to see a therapist. You really need to see a coach. Do not sit home with these crazy ass thoughts in your head and feel like you're going to be admitted. You're not going to be admitted. It happens all the time. Just make sure that you're seeing a maternal mental health specialist or a postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD specialist, somebody who specializes in maternal mental health. Okay. Not any therapist, not any coach, not anybody, not any social worker, somebody who specializes in what you are going through. It is extremely important. Okay. That's what I specialize in, scary thoughts. So if you get them and you can't control them and you need help, that's what I'm here for. Okay. So scary thoughts. So hopefully everybody gets that this is an upgrade and that there's nothing wrong with you. You have not lost your mind. You're not a crazy person, and to actually not feel so much shame and guilt about having these thoughts, because they are in essence to protect you and your child. All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit, since we're on scary thoughts, let's talk about maternal mental health. Okay, postpartum mental health, baby blues versus postpartum depression, anxiety, and OCD. All right. Let me just take a breath here. All right, do not shut this off, because this is very important. I wish somebody told me. I wish I paid a freaking attention. Okay. Risk factors. All right, risk factors for moms who potentially could end up with postpartum depression, anxiety, and OCD. Number one thing, if you end up with these things, it is temporary. Okay. If you have a diagnosis, you don't have a diagnosis, it is temporary. Do not identify with any of this. Okay. It is temporary. It is totally fixable. You can see a therapist, you could see me, you could see another coach, you could see a nutritionist, dietitian. It is totally fixable. Okay. Do not go seek help, and do not identify with this. It's totally fixable. It will go away. Okay. Risk factors: history of anxiety, history of depression, type A personality, perfectionism, financial instability, relationship issues, problems with mom, problems with dad. Okay. We're also talking about childhood trauma, codependency. We're talking about sexual abuse. We are talking about birth trauma. So if you have a traumatic birth, breastfeeding trauma. I'm trying to think of the other ones. They're not coming to my brain right now. History of OCD, history of bipolar disorder. A lot of it I didn't know. So if you are type A and you are a perfectionist and you don't like to fail, or you have to be good at something, you might have a little bit of an issue. Just saying. Okay. A little bit of an issue, because you may feel like you are failing, and that is something that you can't handle, right? Because being a perfectionist, you don't want to fail. Everything has to be perfect. So it can be an issue, right? And then when you're watching everybody on social media and they all look all happy and you're miserable and whatever, it could potentially be an issue. If you are not in a place in your life where you feel like you are ready to have a baby, let's say you're not at the right job, you're not financially stable, you're not in a job that you like, things like that, it can cause lots of chaos. If you have been in therapy with your spouse, or you guys are having some sort of issues, or they're not understanding, not supporting, that can cause all kinds of trauma. Some of you don't know that you're codependent. I would look that up. I didn't know I was codependent, so look it up. That can cause you all kinds of havoc. So these are the risk factors for postpartum depression, anxiety. Okay, how does somebody go from baby blues to postpartum depression, anxiety, and OCD? All right, they say that it is a time frame. Okay, I don't really think they have any effing clue of how you go from baby blues to mental health disorder. Okay, what ends up happening is that the things that used to bring you joy don't bring you as much joy. Okay, you will experience things like mourning your old life, and we're going to talk about identity crisis, mourning your old life, fearing your future life, thinking, why did I have this baby? I know this sounds crazy, but this is what's going to happen. And you are going to say, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Like, how are we ever going to do anything, get out of the house, all these things. Okay. Then you might get, you will get these scary thoughts. All right. And then you might feel anxious. You might be afraid that the baby might die of SIDS, or you might be afraid that the baby will suffocate, or you might be really sad. Okay. So you might find yourself just crying at a drop of a hat, or you might find that you have physical symptoms of anxiety where you like can't come down, you can't eat, your heart is racing like 1,000 miles a minute. Hold on one second. You just got on. What am I talking about? Preparing for motherhood. I'm talking about what they're about to experience in their first year of motherhood and how to prepare. So how does it go? Things become all consuming, right? In the beginning, you might not know what's happening. My suggestion is, no matter what, whether it is baby blues or postpartum depression, OCD, whatever, it doesn't matter. You need to go get some help. All right. You find like I said, a maternal mental health specialist, find a coach, find a support group. Do not sit in silence thinking something is wrong with you. This happens all the time. You could spend the next year, 12 months of your life being miserable. It does not go away on its own. It just doesn't disappear. I don't care what anybody tells you. It does not disappear. All right. You need to go get some help. The earlier, the better. When I get moms who come with me, who meet me in the first 4 months and they're struggling with scary thoughts, anxiety, feeling guilt and shame and feeling like they failed, breastfeeding trauma, birth trauma, they heal the fastest, right? They are able to get through this with flying colors, figure out the problem. I have moms who have 3 kids, okay, the oldest being 8 and the youngest being 1, who are still suffering. That is 8 years of suffering. 8 years. Do you know how long that is? That is a very long time. You saw a trauma specialist. Great. We're going to talk about what type of specialists you need. That's awesome that you saw that. So you want to make sure that we're seeing all of this and that you're understanding that no matter what's happening, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need a little bit of support. You need the tools. You need the resources. You need someone to validate your feelings and your thoughts. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit right now, just because she brought that up as well, is when you have baby blues and maternal mental health issues. Okay. Part of another great superpower we have is that as we get this physiological upgrade, actually what happens is that we can no longer handle toxicity. All right. So if you are in a toxic job, toxic relationship, have toxic family members, toxic friends, you will start doing drastic things. Okay. Some people get divorced. Some people stop talking to family members. Some people quit their jobs, start a new job, do something they love. We can no longer tolerate toxicity. Not only can we no longer tolerate toxicity, but actually what happens is every single childhood trauma and childhood emotion and any kind of issues, limiting beliefs, negative self-thought, everything comes to the surface. It's like, boom, here, all the shit you haven't dealt with your whole life, boom. Now you got to deal with that shit, your scary thoughts, and a crying baby. Let's put a freaking cherry on top of this shit, okay? So that is coming up for your highest good, right? So that you can heal it, all right? So you will also see that you have been programmed from the ages of actually preconception to 7. And all of that programming that you have been programming in the first 7 years of life, okay, is in your subconscious. That runs 98% of your life. So everything that you experienced, you were told in the first 7 years of your life now runs the rest of your life. Now think about it for a second. If you have negative self-talk and you don't think that you're good enough, that you're pretty enough, that you are worthy, that you're deserving, that or you think you're not smart, or you think that you fail at everything, or you're not good at this, or you're a bad person, or whatever. When you're sleep deprived, guess what program runs? This one, 98% starts running. So you will have the most negative self-talk on the face of the planet. About 2 to 5% of your day is going to be run on your conscious brain. But when you have a baby, it becomes extremely difficult to run on that because you're sleep deprived. So all your logic shuts off, right? And what will actually end up happening is you will repeat what your parents did as parents. So you will find yourself saying things, doing things that your parents did, or that your nanny did, or your teachers, or your kids at 5, and how they respond. You will feel all of this stuff. It will come up. You will have flashbacks of different things. So I want you to know that all of this affects your mental health, right? Because there's so many things happening, right? That's great. So I'll get to it in a second. Hold on. So it's going to affect everything, right? So we want to make sure that you are fully prepared. What's going to happen? I know this sounds scary. It's a little overwhelming. It's totally fixable. It's totally fixable with support. You have to make sure that you have professional support. That's why I'm doing this for you, to make sure that all of these stressors, no one's ever taught you, they taught you how to deal with loss of family member, loss of job separately, but not a divorce, a loss of a job, a loss of a family member, this, that, third, blah, 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 right? All at the same time. So it's going to be, you need support in helping deal with all of these stressors. This is a huge life change. This is the biggest life change mentally, physically, spiritually. It's a spiritual awakening in the process that you will ever go through in your entire life. And if you have more than one child, chances are you're probably going to keep going through it. So please understand that the sooner you get help, the sooner that you get all of these stressors under control, you learn how to deal with one at a time, that you have the support, you have the validation, you have the tools and resources, it's going to be fine, okay? You will notice when something is very wrong. It's sort of like the lights went out, okay? In your eyes, it's sort of like you're stuck in limbo. For some people, it's extreme crying, extreme anxiety. For some people, it is just feeling numb, not wanting to hold a baby, not bonding with baby, feeling like you want to run away, that somebody else would be better off taking care of them, that you just feel like a terrible mom, you're a failure, and the scary thoughts. And what ends up happening is when they diagnose you to a certain extent, it's because this repetitive thoughts, right? Repetitive feelings, repetitive feelings of despair. Everything feels heavy. You have physical symptoms, right? Your stomach hurts, your chest hurts, your back hurts. You feel like sleeping all the time, or you don't want to eat, or things like that, right? So that's where it kind of changes between like typical baby blues and postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD. No matter what it is, you need to get help. All right? Does everybody get it? Yes? Okay. You will have an identity crisis. Everybody goes through this. Okay. Again, to varying degrees. All of a sudden, you will be like, I just mentioned, oh my God, what happened to my old life? I went from this carefree life, no responsibilities, like sleep when I want, get up when I want, go to the store when I want, to like, holy crap, I got to ensure that this little thing survives. It's attached to my breast 24/7. I can't put it down. It doesn't sleep. It just cries. Like, what do I do? Oh my God, I miss my old life so much. And you will cry in the middle of the night while you feed, and you will be like, this is, what did we do here? Like, this is so hard. How come nobody told me? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, I will pop in your head and you'll be like, oh God, yes. So you will also go through an experience at some point in the first 12 months of, am I just mom? Am I just wife? Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, then things become really complicated. So please note that on some level, you will have some sort of identity crisis. You will feel like either you lost your purpose, you lost who you are, that you don't know what's happening. You don't know if you'll ever feel like yourself again. You will feel like yourself again, and we're going to talk about that. I got to finish up here, but we will talk about that, of how you can start feeling like yourself again and things like that. But you really need to understand that that is definitely a very real thing that's going to happen. And it again happens on varying degrees. If you have a job you love and you go back and you have friends and you go out with your friends and you take baby places and all this stuff, it's going to be okay. But a lot of you are going to go through somewhat of identity crisis. Yes. And you had thoughts too. Yep. Everybody goes through some level of it. Okay. And the last one that we're going to talk about is relationship changes. Okay. Good and bad, right? You may find that your spouse or baby daddy or mommy is like all of a sudden changed and becomes this wonderful, supportive person, like great dad, great mom, like whatever it might be, this wonderful thing where they swoop up baby and they swaddle and they change baby and they do all these wonderful things. They cook, they clean, they do whatever. Or it might be the opposite, where you find yourself doing everything and dad or mom over here is not doing jack shit. Okay. There will be a point in time where you keep score. Who does more? I do more. You do more. I slept less. You slept less. You slept more. You go to work. You stay home. You make the money. You don't make money. That you will have some ups and downs. Okay. It's very important that you keep an open line of communication. This is 2020. Everything should be at least 50-50. All right, at least. Okay. So if you're pregnant right now, now's the conversation that you need to have, a legit conversation about all kinds of things. What are they going to help clean? Are they going to help with the baby? Are they going to watch baby when they come home? Wake up in the middle of the night? What kind of conversation do you need to have? I would say look at some issues you have right now because they're about to blow up. So look at those issues, tackle those issues, talk about them so you're fully prepared for what is about to happen. And you guys have a plan of action of who does what, when this happens, things like that. It will change over time. You will continually have to have this conversation. You will continually have to adjust. All right. Sleep and everything. Baby duties, household duties, you need to have this conversation right now. If you're well into your first year, you still need to have this conversation because things will change. You will get resentful, you will get hateful, you will get angry, and you will scream. Okay, and then that will lead you to postpartum rage. So nip that in the bud, which postpartum rage is another thing that's not on my list. But if you do have postpartum rage, it's really scary. It's like where you go into a really flash of anger and you start screaming and yelling. That's for a different day, a different training, but that is something that you need to be aware of. So with that, these are all the things that nobody tells you. So hopefully this is helping, and it's not scaring the shit out of you, but it is, so that you prepare yourself. Okay. Now let's talk about how we're going to prepare. All right. So this is where you need to get tools. This is where you need to get a pen and pencil, right? Last 15 minutes. I'm going to talk about postpartum plan. I'm going to talk about what kind of tools and resources you need. All right. So I'm going to give you a second. Clarissa, thanks for staying on. I'm sorry, I'm not like staring at the screen over there. Okay. We're going to talk postpartum professionals that you need. Write these down. You need all of them. I don't care if you think that I'm crazy and that you're not going to experience any of these things. Why not have these people in place, the numbers in place, whether it's covered by your insurance or not? If you have to pay out of pocket, save some money and prepare for the event that it happens. And if it doesn't, great. And if it does, you're prepared and you know exactly what to do, right? So I know I mentioned a lot. You need a postpartum doula, okay? I suggest an Ayurvedic doula. Right? Remember, we talked about the first 40 days. Okay. Tools and resources for the first 40 days. You need doulas, mother's helpers, family. Make sure you're focusing on your nutrition, right? You need hold on, we're not there yet. It's possible you might need a midwife. Okay. OBGYNs, unfortunately, they're not the best. I mean, I love them. But midwives, they will do lots of checkups postpartum, which is really, really important. You need people checking up on you postpartum, like a lot. A 6-week checkup is not enough. You know, I suggest you see somebody every couple weeks. It's really important because things can change. Your hormones can change. Your mood can change. Baby feeding can change. So many things can change over the course of 12 months. So midwife is really great. If you can get one, awesome. A pelvic floor therapist. Do not get a pelvic floor therapist. What did I just say? It is, you should not be peeing. You should not be peeing. Your whole body just push a giant child out, or you got a C-section and just cut everything open. You need a pelvic floor therapist, a physical therapist that specializes in postpartum care. Okay, pregnancy and postpartum care. I have a lot of colleagues. Let me know. I'll shoot you some in New Jersey, some all over the world. So let me know. You need a functional medicine doctor. If you are in a state where there is not a naturopathic doctor, you need a functional medicine doctor, dietitian, or nutritionist. You will refer to them instead of your OB and your primary for anything that has to do with hormones and nutrition, okay, and nutrient deficiencies. You need a lactation consultant. All right, make sure you have one on staff, on like speed dial, ASAP. And a breastfeeding support group, right? Okay, you need a maternal mental health therapist. You need to look this up now. You do not want to have to call thousands of therapists Figure out who is taking new clients, who's available, who's covering your insurance while you are crying your eyes out. All right. Just make sure that you have something available. You need a postpartum coach. Okay. There's a lot of us. Okay. Find us. I got friends. I got colleagues. There's a lot of us right now. Make sure you know who you want to work with postpartum. Okay. Coaches are different than therapists. We do totally different things. A lot of my clients see me and a therapist at the same time. You need a new mom support group. This is not a joke. You need it. You need to go to a support group, whether it's virtual or in person. Do not go. You will feel so much better. You are not alone with whatever you're experiencing. Billions of moms are experiencing the same thing as you. We talked about the breastfeeding support group, a birth trauma specialist. Someone on here mentioned that they used a trauma specialist. There are different levels of birth trauma. One of my colleagues is Dr. Rebecca Moore. Look her up on Instagram. There are different levels of trauma. There's like a little t traumas and big T traumas. All right. What you might not think is birth trauma might actually be birth trauma for you. Okay. Making sure that you have some sort of trauma specialist, especially if you have had some extreme childhood trauma, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, anything like that. Bullying in school, you need to have some sort of trauma specialist, right? Making sure that even PTSD. So make sure you know where that's coming from. Okay. The last thing that you need to know about this portion of it is that you need to know where your help is coming from. You need to have a conversation with your family, your friends, and your spouse right now. Who can help? Who can't? How much help? When? Where? For how long? Are they even gonna help? Or is it gonna be worse help, right? You need to figure out where the help is coming from. Who's gonna deliver your meals? Who's gonna help clean? Who's gonna help watch the baby? Where is the baby gonna go to daycare? Is hubby gonna watch baby on the weekends? What is happening? Make sure you do not have really high expectations of everybody in your life, because chances are it's going to plummet postpartum. People are not going to show up. Your friends are not going to show up. Your family's not going to show up, these things. So make sure you know what the expectations are, what they think they can handle, what you would like them to do, and you have a legit conversation about it. Okay. Now, let's go into tools and resources as we get to the end of this. All right. So I broke it up for you. You're going to need a whole bunch of tools and resources. Best thing you can do is therapy and coaching right off the bat. You can start now. You can start now. But for real. Okay. We talked about breastfeeding, tools and resources. You're talking about your lactation console. Make sure you got your bottles and your formula just in case. Look up nipple shields. If you have inverted nipples or flat nipples, make sure you're looking into that. YouTube for help, okay? La Leche, anything like that. Also note, you can breastfeed and give formula. You can breastfeed and pump. You can pump and give formula. You can do all of those things. I don't give a shit what anybody tells you. You can do them all, okay? If that's what works best for you, if that's what feeds your baby, and that's what you feel comfortable for, that's what you do. You do whatever keeps you sane when it comes to breastfeeding, formula feeding, pumping. Whatever keeps you sane. A sane mommy is a happy mommy. Do not listen to somebody that makes you feel really bad. If they make you feel really bad, you come see me. Okay? Sleep deprivation. Remember, yoga nidra, sleep shift schedule with your spouse or whoever you got. Read the book, The Happiest Baby on the Block. It'll save you so much time and energy getting baby sleep. And also know who your physical help is going to be. At least every other day, you're going to need someone to help come over and take a nap. You're going to need a nap, at least. All right. First 40 days, remember, first 40 days of your health determines the next 40 years. Look up Ayurvedic postpartum care. You'll understand why. So you need doulas, nutrition, functional medicine doctor, like we talked about, making sure that you're getting adequate nutrition. Do not eat. Okay. And let's see, identity crisis, making sure that you're getting self-care. Check out my Instagram channel. We talk a lot about self-care, therapy, new moms groups, and mom friends. As you go through an identity crisis, you want to make sure that you have support. Everything is about support, ladies. You should not be doing anything by yourself. Zero. even if it's virtual support, just like this, 0. Okay. Can't do this by yourself. Scary thoughts, tapping, okay. NLP, that push away technique, therapy, coaching. Don't forget, this is your new whacked out superpower. It's really important that you keep that in mind. All right. If you end up feeling uncomfortable at some point, any sad, exhausted, anxious, scary thoughts, all consuming, whatever, go get help. Don't sit there. Don't sit there by yourself. Please, please. There's all kind of, things that you can do to get help. Do not sit where you are by yourself. If your mother and your mother-in-law are making you feel bad, they are not helpful. If your spouse is making you feel worse about yourself, they are not helpful. Call me, okay? Get in a support group. All right, with this, there's a whole lot that I can't cover right now. The hour's up. But I'm happy to help you any way I can. This is what I do all day, every day. I really hope that all of this, everything that nobody tells you, truly prepares you. I know it scared you a little bit, but the more prepared you are, the more stuff you can look up right now, the more tools and resources and more support that you can get professionally up in line, the better you are going to be postpartum, the better you're going to have a way better postpartum experience. Just by listening to this webinar right now with me, this masterclass, you are literally going to have a way better postpartum experience than I did. And if that's all I did, I'm so happy for that. So I hope that this was super helpful for you. Please, if you need any help with any of this, setting up a postpartum plan, getting all these things in place, ensuring the tools and resources, please reach out to me, DM me, book a call, book a free clarity call with me at theunfamiliarmom.com/book, or you can go to my Instagram page, DM me. I always answer. If you are already struggling with some of the things that I already just said and you haven't given birth yet, you need to contact me immediately. Okay? Immediately. I need to talk to you. We need to get things in place immediately so that you are really, really set up for success postpartum, that there's a lot of support, that you are mentally prepared for what's going to happen, physically and emotionally prepared. Motherhood's a lot, ladies. You're going to need some support, and I'm here for you. And this is what I do all day, every day, and I'd be happy to help you. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. I'm just going to check Instagram. And if not, thank you all so much for coming. I hope this was super helpful for you and that I didn't scare the living daylights out of you. I'm just going to check on Facebook just to see. Let me just see something. Okay, I don't want to hear myself. So what are you guys saying? Let's see. Okay, so you did, a lot of yours was childhood trauma. So we have someone on here saying childhood trauma. You did a lot of EMDR. That's awesome. Neurofeedback. I heard about biofeedback's really good. You had a lot of weird thoughts. It was horrible. Your son's 15 months and still nursing. Some days I want to quit and other days I feel sad to quit. Yes. So it's a constant, I feel guilty, but I need my mental health, feel guilty. A lot of women don't get help because their kids will get taken away. Yeah, that's another thing. That's why I really want to make sure that you guys are seeing a maternal mental health specialist or a postpartum, postpartum, I don't know what I'm saying here. Postpartum therapist. Okay. You're going to a nurse for another year. Oh, good for you. Good for you. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump off. I will repost this so that you can watch it at any time. Please share with your mom friends. It's really important that if you guys are struggling or you've been through this before, or you haven't heard what I just said, that you repost this, that you share this with your mommy friends. Please, people need to know this. We need to get rid of this epidemic of maternal mental health disorders. All of this can be prevented. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is prevent what happened to me and billions of other moms for the people that are pregnant right now. So that they don't have the same problems that I had, and I could save you a whole bunch of time and heartache and pain. All right. I want you to have a wonderful postpartum experience. I want you to feel really good about it. I want you to ease yourself in it. Learn how to manage your stress, learn how to manage your thoughts, feel really light, feel like a good mom. This is the whole purpose of this, is that you, as you prepare, as you have the support, you're going to feel really good about yourself. And that's really what matters, is that you feel like a good mom. You feel like you're doing a good job. And if something gets screwed up, you're like, oh, hey, Danielle told me about that. I knew that was going to happen. I'll just go get some help, right? Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for being on. I love you and sending you so much light and love. And until next time.